Welp, I think Mystic Mind deserves to be banned. There, I said it, people. Mystic Mind Sky Striker just won the YCS despite having a lot less representation than all the other decks. Uh, and he ended up winning because the person that was piloting Mystic Mind was main decking 3 Demise of the Land, Metaverse, Terraforming, and 3 Mystic Mine alongside a couple of Sky Striker cards, just kind of like spiced in there. So Mystic Mine just won the YCS Hartford, and people immediately jumped onto Zodiac and YouTube saying, oh, Mystic Mine deserves to be banned. And other people jumped saying Mystic Mine does not deserve to be banned. And both sides started going up against each other. One trash talking the other trash talking the other side. And it got pretty chaotic. Some people were saying, oh, just draw it out, bro. It's that easy. The other side was saying, oh, just build your deck better, build your side deck better. So both sides were basically bashing each other. So uh, here's like my view of it. I 100% think Mystic Mind deserves to be banned. Let me just read to you something that happened at the YCS, okay? So we have player 1 flipped Widow Anchor to negate Linus effect and use multi-roll to set 1 Afterburner from his graveyard. Player 1 flipped Afterburners to destroy Lana and Ritual Sanctuary before passing his turn. Player 2 switched Natasha into defense position and passed. Player 1 drew and passed. Player 2 drew and passed. Player 1 drew and passed. And I think we can just skip over and let's just go to the last sentence right here. And it says that player 2 drew and passed. And with 3 cards left in his deck, he conceded and destined to run out of cards in his deck before his opponent, who still has 7 cards in his deck. So he conceded. So a lot of people are saying he only decked one opponent out throughout this whole tournament, despite having double-digit rounds, right? So people are saying, "Oh, that wasn't his strategy. He wasn't trying to deck people out." Well, I don't know how to tell you these people, but a lot of people ended up scooping way before getting decked out, right? If they knew they didn't have an out, and if they knew the opponent had more cards in their deck than they had, they just scooped. They just forfeited before it even got close to a deck outs in there because he knew what the opponent was trying to do. Well, they wouldn't know that. And another note in top of that is that a lot of people don't realize this, but people that play Mystic Mine, especially Mystic Mine Sky Striker, they don't always try to go for the deck out strategy. They just try to get enough resources so that they are able to beat you whenever they want to because they're in the commanding seat, right? They can engage a couple of times. They can pop all your field, like your back row and stuff like that. And once they have enough hand traps or enough uh, power to like either OTK you or like poke you, then they can kind of go for a game, right? And another note on top of that, especially where Mystic Mind is especially toxic is against decks when decks like Prank Kids or Sky Striker take advantage of it. You might be wondering why. It's because they are able to get rid of their monsters during main phase 2 with something like multi-roll or something like tributing their monsters with Bow Wow or like Do and stuff like that. So being able to tribute their monsters or get rid of their monsters and end up with no monsters on the field so they can just poke you and slowly beat you out like that. So it's very toxic on decks like that. So do I think Mystic Mind deserves a ban? Yes. Yes, I do think it deserves a ban. When people say, bro, just draw it out, bro, just side deck better, bro, this, bro, that. Okay, so let me give you a little comparison. Like, let's say we were playing checkers, right? I think we've all played checkers. And then you said, bro, just move the queen better, right? Just learn how to play with your queen, right? And you're like, are you getting games confused? Like, we're playing checkers, we're not playing chess. Why are you mentioning the queen? Well, the reason why I brought that example up is because, first of all, we're playing the Yu-Gi-Oh meta game. what does the Yu-Gi-Oh meta game consist of, right? It consists of playing against combo decks like Sonavilon, like Sword Soul, like Despia. So any competent player will side deck to go up against those decks, or main deck to go up against those decks, because that's basically the game you're playing, right? So you're playing against combo decks. You're gonna side like Nibiru, Super Polys, Dark Ruler, No More's Droplet, and all that stuff, right? So the game we're playing is the meta game of Yu-Gi-Oh. So we side deck to go up against those decks, right? We're not thinking of the other people that are like playing another game, right? Which is basically like back row decks or like Mystic Mind decks. But the reason why I think Mystic Mind decks and like back row decks are different. They like the same side deck patterns. It's not the same side deck patterns because let's just say something like Twin Twisters, right? You wouldn't side Twin Twisters against something like Despia, right? Like, so you wouldn't main deck Twin Twisters against something like Despia because the only couple of trap cards that they will use, or like against Sword Soul, because the only trap card that they will use would be something like Blackout or like Dimensional Barrier. So like Dimensional Barrier is horrible against Twin Twisters because you basically go -2. You discard a card and you use Twin Twisters. That's 2 cards, and they're gonna flip over the Dimensional Barrier. So you're not really trading against it because they're resolving the Dimensional Barrier. So Twin Twisters is not really something good to main deck. And if you're going up against something like Drytron and you're main decking the Twin Twisters, what is that gonna do, right? So I think it's 2 different games. So and I don't think that being able to have a strategy that solely relies on decking the opponent out is healthy for the game, right? Like I'm gonna go back to the example, right? Like he only decked out one of his opponents throughout the whole tournament, the YCS. But a lot of the people scooped before getting to that deck out scenarios because they knew that they were gonna get decked out. So I don't think that kind of play style is healthy for the game. Just like passing turns for like whole bunch of turns until one person, like, he knows he's gonna lose the whole time, so he's just gonna end up scooping it up. And then going back to the side deck, right? Oh, just side deck better, bro. So like now that we've established that main deck in back row is not really the best strategy, because you're going up against 95% combo decks, 95% combo decks. You're not gonna be main decking back row removal. Like it like makes no sense, right? So you're gonna be like, well, just side deck better then, right? Like main decking macro removal is not really smart, so like just side deck better, okay? But you need to keep in mind that when you're side decking, you have to side deck cards to go first and to go second, right? So you have to you have to side deck your floodgates that help you win against combo decks, and then so like once it all comes down to it, you have like 3 to 6 spots to side deck against back row decks, right? So evenly matched. It's not really good against the Mystic Mind strategy because they're just gonna leave Mystic Mind up, and what are you gonna do against that? Nothing. So, and especially Mystic Mind is a going second card. So I mean, especially in that scenario, Mystic evenly match is not really good in that scenario. So yeah, Mystic Mind is like a usually when you think back row decks, you're thinking, oh, they want to go first, or they want to like try to win out by setting some floodgates or something like that. But Mystic Mind is more of like, okay, I'm gonna let my opponent go first, then I'm gonna activate Mystic Mind, and they're gonna suffer. So I feel like I'm rambling, but my main takeaway from this is I think Mystic Mind deserves to be banned. In case you didn't know this, Mystic Mind is actually banned in the OCG because they realized that Mystic Mind is such a toxic card. For some reason, it's still legal here in the TCG, and people can like play a Mystic Mind strategy with 3 Demise of the Land, Metaverse, Terraforming, and 3 Mystic Minds. Another upside of banning Mystic Mind is that you're not gonna like Metaverse will potentially come out to 2 or 3. So that would be something positive about banning Mystic Mine. So if your deck, like if you're playing ABC, or if you're playing another deck that relies a lot on the field spells, then having 2 to 3 metaverses will help out a lot, right? So please, Konami, ban Mystic Mine, ban Mystic Mine. I don't think it's healthy for the game. I really don't think so. Um, just side deck better, bro. Build a better side deck. Don't think are good arguments against such a toxic card. I mean, if you're gonna go in that route, you can make that case against any card in the game, right? Just side deck better, just main deck better. No, I think we need to separate that from toxic cards and like what cards are actually toxic that make a toxic playstyle. And we need to get rid of those cards, right? Like I think Imperial Order was one of those cards that was just straight up toxic, and Konami did the right thing in banning it. I think that after this YCS, Konami will see how toxic a playstyle like this can be. So hopefully they'll make the right decision. But I want to know on the comments below what you guys think about Mystic Mine. Do y'all think it should be banned? Do y'all think it should stay at 3? I want to know your thoughts on the comments below. But I'll catch you next time.